On today's show, the Cleveland Cavaliers do it again. Another Cavalanche. This one sinks the Golden State Warriors. We'll talk about Monday night's win on a New Year's Eve edition of Locked On Cavs.
You are Locked On Cavs, your daily Cleveland Cavaliers podcast.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? My name's Danny Cunningham. You might know me from my time covering the Cleveland Cavaliers, places like 92.3 The Fan, my new Substack, The Inside Shot, Cleveland Magazine, and a number of other stops along the way. I want to say thank you to you for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. You can find the show anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review. Be a friend. Tell a friend about Locked On Cavs. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure a friend is subscribed as well. And if you're watching the show on YouTube right now, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button for me, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the latest Locked On Cavs content, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On Cavs also now does have a newsletter, introducing the Locked On Cavs daily newsletter, one stop for your ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at lockedondaily.com. That's lockedondaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Cavs newsletter. The Cleveland Cavaliers winners once again Monday night. They go out to Golden State, continue their West Coast trip with a 113-95 win over the Golden State Warriors. This was a game that was a bit of a tale of two halves. The first half I thought was incredibly ugly, that second quarter in particular. Now the Cavs did, we'll give them credit early on. Thought they competed pretty well defensively, particularly in the second quarter, holding Golden State to just 11 points. Offensively was a different story. They did start to heat up closer to halftime. And then the third quarter arrived, and the Cavs did to the Warriors what the Cavs have done to a lot of teams this year, and what the Warriors used to do to everybody, is they just absolutely took their heart, took their soul, and destroyed it in a span of about 3 minutes. So the Warriors opened up the third quarter down by 8. Their very first possession, I believe it was Trace Jackson Davis, gets a 3-point play. Evan Mobley fouled him, who Evan Mobley did not have a good night. I'll talk about that coming up in a little bit. But 3-point play cuts it to a 5-point Cavs lead. 46-41, I believe is what the score was. From there, the Cavs then scored on their next 7 possessions, with 6 of those being 3-pointers. And before the Warriors can even catch their breath, the Cavs are up by 23 points. Like, this went from a game that was competitive, that the Cavs didn't play very well in, that the Warriors looked to be like, hey, they could look themselves in the mirror and say, we can steal this one. We can beat this team. They're not playing all that well. I thought Golden State did a really good job in the first quarter of kind of mucking the game up and forcing the Cavs to play a style that maybe they didn't want to play. Like, I thought the Cavs struggled to get into the paint on offense, and just there were some issues in that first half that I thought they raised my eyebrows a little bit. And then the third quarter happened, and all hope is gone in the span of 3 minutes. If you're a Cavs fan, which I know you are listening to this or watching this, think back to what those Warriors teams felt like in 2014-15, the year the Golden State won because Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving got hurt. Or 2015-16, the Cavs won the title, but you always had this fear that Golden State was going to go on a run and Steph Curry was going to hit 4 threes in 5 minutes, and the game was going to go from something that was close to a game that was teetering on being over like that. That's who the Cavs are now. That's what the Cavs do. And it's not like this is just some one-off thing that, they had a hot few minutes against Golden State and they were able to do this. No, the Cavs routinely do this type of thing. We call it a Cavalanche, and that's exactly what it was yet again. And what was so impressive to me about this one in particular is how poorly I thought the Cavs played on offense for like 22 minutes in the first half. Like, just the offense was not good. And then they're able to go into the locker room, regroup, come out, Donovan Mitchell on fire to start the third quarter, and then the game's over. When the Cavs are able to do that, when the Cavs are clicking on all cylinders the way they were, not even for an entire night, they basically did for a quarter on Monday night. Teams across the NBA, I'm not saying no teams do because that's not true, but the vast majority of teams in the NBA do not have an answer for that. The Golden State Warriors very clearly did not have an answer for that on Monday. The Denver Nuggets did not have an answer for that on Friday when it happened. It happens over and over and over again because this is who the Cavs are. The Cavs have become a team that is inevitable to their opponents. They're going to, maybe not the entire night, and they're going to have off nights, and they're going to lose games because that's what NBA teams do. They're not going to win 70-plus games. They're on pace for it, but they're not going to do it. But they're a really great team that is more often than not going to find a way to enforce their will on their opponents. That's exactly what they did on Monday night. They've done it over and over and over again, and we shouldn't be surprised by this anymore. We shouldn't, because the Cavs have shown this is exactly who they are, and this is who they're going to continue to be. One of the things, too, that I thought was really great about this run and really great about this team in general, I think it's a really good encapsulation of who the Cavs are. Like, this Cavalanche on Monday night was led by Donovan Mitchell. Of the 6 threes that the Cavs hit in that 3-minute span, Donovan hit 4 of them. Dean Wade hit 1, Evan Mobley hit 1, but Donovan hit 4 of them. And Donovan is capable of doing that. He's capable of just going supernova, getting super hot, and turning a game on its head. He's capable of carrying a team. He doesn't have to do that because of how good the Cavs are. He doesn't have to be the guy that goes out and puts the team on his back, maybe the way that he needed to and certainly tried to in his first 2 years here in Cleveland. He doesn't have to do that anymore. But he's capable of doing it in these 3 or 4 minute spurts. And that's what Monday night's Cavalanche was. It was Donovan Mitchell saying, okay, we've not had the best start to this game. I'm going to put this team on my back for 4 minutes here, and we're going to see what happens. And what happened was the Cavs pushed a 5-point lead to a 23-point lead. Ultimately, got up to a 26-point lead because he's capable of doing that. But the fact that he doesn't need to do it night in and night out, I think makes it more effective when he does put the team on his back the way that he did. I think that it makes those moments more impactful. It makes it more effective. And truthfully, it makes Donovan a better player, and it makes the Cavs a better team because they're not so reliant on him, and he doesn't have to exert so much energy having the type of 4-minute stretch that he had in the third quarter on Monday night for 33 minutes on a random Monday in December. He doesn't have to do that, but doing that for 4 minutes on a random Monday night in December, there's nothing wrong with that at all. And that is one of the things that I think makes this team special. I think it's one of the things that makes this team so difficult to deal with. I'm not saying that the Cavs are unbeatable. They're not unbeatable. They are a team that I think is great, but there are a few other great teams in the NBA. But what I am saying is when the Cavs have everything going on, and on Monday night, like if we're being honest, and I will talk about this coming up a little bit later, the Cavs did not have everything going on. Like, I don't think Evan Mobley played particularly well, but they still find a way to put together these runs, and other teams can't recover at times. Like, you could see the Warriors go from a team that thought they had a chance to steal a game against a team with the NBA's best record, and then it's gone in the blink of an eye. And to that team, it has to feel super familiar because that's what they did for 5 straight years, really. Once they added Kevin Durant, especially, but even in the couple of years they were really great before that, that is exactly who the Warriors were. And that is one of the reasons why, I've talked so much about this. I've probably written about it over at the Inside Shot more than I've talked about it here. But the comparison between this Cavs team and the 2014-15 Golden State Warriors team is uncanny. And this is one of the things that makes it uncanny, is that they're able to do this not at will, because you can't do things at will in the NBA, but they're able to do this so frequently that it is terrifying for opponents. As you watched the Warriors play a decade ago, you were always on the edge of your seat, worried about what would happen when Steph Curry got a good look from 3. Now, and I'm not saying Donovan Mitchell is Steph Curry or Darius Garland is Klay Thompson or, go on down the line. But now, if you're an opponent of the Cavs, what you're doing is everything you possibly can to try and stop that from happening, because the Cavs have become so proficient from outside that eventually Evan Mobley is going to be the one to benefit from this too. And I don't know what the answer to stopping this Cavs team is when they're clicking on all cylinders, but I do know that there are not many teams in the NBA that have that answer. We saw the problem that the Cavs can create for a lot of teams on Monday night. I don't know how many teams have something that can stop that from happening. I'm not saying it can happen every game. It can't. But it happens often enough that this is who the Cavs are. Like, this is a game that you look at and say, yeah, that's a statement win, right? Like, you look at this Warriors game and say, yeah, that should be a statement game. And on paper, it probably is. People are going to be waking up that didn't watch this game. They're going to be waking up Tuesday morning and saying, oh, wow, the Cavs did that in Golden State. That's not an easy thing to do, even though the Warriors aren't necessarily a great team this year. But this is who they've been. This isn't a statement for them because it's kind of just another night for them. And that might actually be the statement about who the Cavaliers actually are. One of the other things that really impressed me on Monday night for the Cavs was they were able to find a way to get a win, like I said, without clicking on all cylinders. Evan Mobley didn't think had a great game. So how did they make up for that? Well, we're going to talk about Jarrett Allen next, right here on Locked On Cavs. Today's episode is brought to you by Rocket RX. If you're ready to boost your confidence and take control in the bedroom, Rocket RX has the solution. Imagine feeling more prepared and performing at your best. Rocket RX makes it simple and stress-free. Rocket RX offers FDA-approved treatments for erectile dysfunction at a lower cost than branded alternatives. No more uncomfortable doctor visits or pharmacy trips. Everything is delivered straight to your door in discreet, plain packaging. With Rocket RX, you'll get trusted care from a real U.S. clinical team, complete a quick 100% online consultation, and you could get your free prescription today. Visit rocketrx.com to get started now. It only takes 2 minutes. Right now, our listeners can get 40% off your first order when you use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's rocketrx.com, code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA, for 40% off your first order. Terms and conditions do apply. Rocket RX, better sex made simple. Thank you again for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. Like I said at the top of the show, you can find us anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating. Make sure you're subscribed and tell a friend about Locked On Cavs, because I know there's a lot of Cavs fans out there. I know a lot of you are listening, but not all of you are listening. We need to change that. So make sure a friend downloads Locked On Cavs today too. I didn't think Evan Mobley had his best game on Monday night against the Golden State Warriors. A simple look at the box score would tell you that that is a correct observation. He finished with 7 points, 7 rebounds, was in foul trouble most of this night. He finished the game with 5 personal fouls, only played 24 minutes, did hit a three-pointer, did take 4 three-pointers, which I think is another really good sign. I talked about that a bunch on the first edition of Locked On Cavs on Monday morning. So I did think that was a really good sign. But the better sign is that I thought Jarrett Allen made up for it. Now, Jarrett Allen didn't have a perfect game, and I don't think that if you look at the box score, you're going to be blown away by what he did. He finished with 12 points, had 9 rebounds. Like Mobley, played 24 minutes. Like Mobley, dealt with foul trouble. I mean, the Cavs were called for 25 fouls compared to just 14 for the Golden State Warriors. And I did think, especially early on, that impacted the flow of this game. Like, I didn't think, and this was not a Cavs-specific thing, I didn't think either team could really get into a flow in that first half. I thought it was a struggle because there were so many whistles, there were so many stoppages, there were so many foul calls. Like, it was just a really rough watch. But I thought Jarrett Allen really stepped up, and I thought he had one of his better performances of the season on Monday night. And that's important because Evan Mobley, while I believe he's been an all-star so far this season, I believe that he will be an all-star when rosters are announced next month. I believe it is. Maybe it's actually probably early February. I believe Evan Mobley will be an all-star when that time comes, but he's not going to have it every night, and he didn't have it on Monday night. But Jarrett Allen, what he did was he made up for it. He made it so that, okay, Evan's not going to be at his best. He's not going to be on the floor as often. Offensively, I thought his touch was a little bit off. Obviously, his shot wasn't falling the way that we've seen it fall in recent weeks. And you know what? That's No big deal. Nights like that are going to happen. But for Jarrett Allen to step up the way that he did, I think it was a good reminder of who Jarrett Allen is and what he's capable of. Obviously, the play of the night for him was that dunk that he had in, I don't want to call it transition. He was kind of a trailer on the play. That was one of the best dunks I think he's had since the Cavs traded for him a handful of years ago. That was a really impressive play. That was maybe his most thunderous dunk of the season, I might say. I know he's had a few good ones, but that was certainly one that really raised my eyebrows. But I was impressed with his play. And despite the fact that he too was in foul trouble, I thought it was really important that he stepped up. Even if, like I said, the box score doesn't scream that he had a great game, I thought he played really, really well. And I do think it helps, like if Mobley's going to be in foul trouble and Jarrett Allen's going to spend some time in foul trouble. I know his really wasn't until the game was out of reach. But it also did help that the Warriors are not exactly the biggest team in terms of front court size. So Dean Wade played some at the 5, and I'll talk about him coming up in a second too. But I thought he played pretty admirably in that spot too. Ty Jerome came off the bench. He had maybe the best game he's had in a couple of weeks. I was really impressed with what we saw. Maybe it was because it was a bit of a revenge game for Ty, being a former member of the Golden State Warriors, and he was certainly talking trash to the Warriors bench. And, I know he finished 3 of 10 shooting, like it wasn't some great box score night, but in that first half, the Cavs were really struggling to get things going on offense, right? Like that was the first half was a rock fight. The fact that they scored 26 points in the first quarter was kind of remarkable for how choppy it seemed to be. And then, they won the second quarter by 9 points, but they only actually scored 20. Ty provided a bit of offense in that first half. Like he scored 8 of his 10 points in the first half, was 3 of 5 shooting in the first half. Second half didn't play as well, but I thought what he gave them in the first half was very important, especially when just nobody could hit shots. Like they shot as a team 26% from 3. They made 6 threes in the first half as a team. Ty Jerome made 2 of them. And I get it. If you look at the final box score, you're going to say, really, you're spending time talking about Ty Jerome. Yeah, I am, because what he did in the first half was something that it's easy to look at as, well, they had this explosion in the third quarter, and that's why they won the game. But part of the reason why they were in position to do so was because of Ty Jerome. The other guy that I did think played really well early, really the only guy that played awesome early, I thought, was Darius Garland. He had a really good first half. He had a good game in total. Like he just continues to show that he's somebody that I think can and should be an all-star this year. He's having a career year so far. He led the Cavs. He had 25 points, had 8 assists, didn't have a turnover. He's been awesome. This was just another night. There was one of the in-ones that he had in the first half where he was very, very excited vocally, we'll say. I cannot repeat on this show what Darius Garland said, but it happened right by the rim. So the mic on the rim picked up what he said, I thought, pretty clearly. But it was good to see that emotion from him. And it was good to see him have this type of performance. And it's going to be as people start to notice the Cavs more and more. And I hate that I'm saying that because, I do think people should have noticed this team already. They're 28-4. But I think when Darius Garland has these big games in this type of spot, it's going to be something that he gets more recognition, and it's recognition that he deserves because he's having an awesome season. This was another awesome night for him. And it's just, he continues to, I think, be really, really impressive with what he's done for the Cavs this season. I'm not saying that Donovan Mitchell deserves all of the accolades that he gets, but Darius Garland, I think, probably deserves more credit than what he's given by national media for the season that he's having. And I thought, again, he had a really, really strong night on Monday night against the Warriors. So Jarrett Allen, I thought, stepped up. I thought Ty Jerome stepped up. I thought Darius Garland stepped up. I thought Dean Wade stepped up too. I want to talk a little bit about Dean's night, and I think the Warriors are a really perfect matchup for him. But I do think too, it speaks to the importance of what Dean Wade can bring to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So we're going to do that next right here on Locked On Cavs. Today's show is brought to you by Rocket Money. Rocket Money, what they do is they will help you find subscriptions that you maybe don't know you're paying for, or maybe you're paying for twice, maybe even 3 times. I don't know what's going on with you, but I know that it is something that has happened because I've seen it happen. I have paid for things multiple times, and you know who can help? Rocket Money can help. They can help eliminate that type of problem, because what you want to do is have financial success, and Rocket Money helps get you there. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together all in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, even the goals that you want to hit next year. It's New Year's Eve, so you want to hit those goals next year. I don't know that you're going to be able to hit all of your financial goals this year. You don't have much time left. Next year, you got plenty of time. I'm confident you can do it then. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Like I said, I've paid for the same thing multiple times. I actually did it by accident on Monday. It's not fun. No one wants to do it. Save your money, save your time with Rocket Money. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/locked-on today. That's rocketmoney.com/locked-on, LOCKEDON, rocketmoney.com/locked-on. Thank you again for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. If you're watching the show on YouTube, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button for me before we get out of here. Click subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss the latest Locked On Cavs content. Dean Wade had to play a little bit of center because of foul trouble on Monday night. I thought he played well, and I thought that Dean Wade really showed how valuable he can be to this team, because one of the areas that the Cavs have historically struggled with the current iteration of their roster is rebounding. Now, you would look at that and say, okay, well, they've got Evan Mobley, they've got Jarrett Allen, they've got 2 bigs on the floor for a decent chunk of the game. They should out-rebound their opponents more often than not. You would, theoretically be right, but you're wrong, because the Cavs don't actually do that. They're not necessarily as good of a rebounding team as they should be. But I do think that the more often Dean Wade is on the floor, the better he can solve that problem. He finished the night on Monday with 13 rebounds. That was the most of anybody on the Cavs. The fact that he did it while having to play a little bit of center, the fact that he did it while not playing center, that was really important, because Golden State, especially early in this game, they were able to create some second chances. Like Trace Jackson-Davis had 6 offensive rebounds for the Warriors, and had Golden State been able to shoot the basketball with any competency in the first half, the Cavs could have been in trouble because of all the second chance opportunities they were getting. I thought Dean Wade did a better job in the second half of making sure that Golden State was one and done when they went to the offensive end. And that is going to be something that, as we look at this defense continuing to improve for the Cavs, which December, now we don't know what's going to happen tonight against the Lakers, and I'll talk about that in a second. But as December closes, this was a good month defensively for the Cavs, despite what happened Friday night in Denver against the Nuggets. It's been a good defensive month, but rebounding is part of that battle. You can be a really good defensive team, but if teams are going to get second and third opportunities to score, those defensive numbers are not going to look very good. Not because you don't have good defenders, but the possession doesn't end. Playing defense doesn't end until you rebound the basketball. So Dean Wade doing that, I think, is a big help. And also having somebody that in certain matchups, it's not every matchup, but against certain teams, and the Warriors certainly qualify as such, being able to play him at center when something goes wrong with Evan Mobley, with Jarrett Allen, I think is a big boost for this team. I'm not saying that he's somebody you would want playing a lot of backup center should one of those guys get injured. I still think that's a place that could be addressed by the Cavs. But in a pinch, having someone like Dean that's able to do it, I think is a really, really big deal. Now, for tonight, the Cavs take on the Lakers. It is the 3rd game of this 4-game West Coast trip. The Lakers have not played, I believe, since Saturday, so they've got 2 days off coming into this game. I expect them to be a little bit refreshed because Dorian Finney-Smith is a guy they just traded for over the weekend. D'Angelo Russell no longer a member of the Lakers, and LeBron turned 40 yesterday. So we'll see what this Lakers team looks like. I do think that for as good as the Cavs played on Monday night, I think this could be a bit of a schedule loss. Having a back-to-back on the West Coast where you lose an hour, think back to, so this game on Monday night started at 10 o'clock Eastern. Tuesday night starts at 9 o'clock Eastern. So you've got 2 tip-off times within 24 hours of each other. That is very rarely a good thing, having to travel in between. If the Cavs don't look their best on Tuesday night, I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think anyone should worry about it. I think that this is a little bit of a scheduled loss, if you will. I'm not saying the Cavs are going to lose, but it is a tough spot in terms of the schedule. One other thing that I do want to make note of, I put out a feature on the Inside Shot on Monday. I sat down with Cavs rookie swingman Jalen Tyson. He really opened up about what his experience has been like, gave a lot of really good quotes about what being on the Cavs means to him, his work ethic, his experience in college, which I know is a really interesting backstory. So that is up at the Inside Shot. If you are interested in that, it's currently 25% off. So you can get in for less than full price. You get Cavs coverage written every single day there, plus some in-depth features and stuff that I really can't do anywhere else. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. A link is in the episode description. But like I said earlier, thank you for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today. Thank you for making Locked On Cavs your first listen every day. You can find the show anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review. Be a friend. Tell a friend about Locked On Cavs. If you're watching on YouTube, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button before you get out of here. Click subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss the latest Locked On Cavs. Also, make sure to go sign up for that newsletter. It is your one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. You can sign up for free right now at LockedOnDaily.com. That is LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Cavs newsletter. I'll be back tomorrow after the Cavs take on the Lakers for the first Locked On Cavs of 2025.